Hey, what is up? Welcome to uh, another episode of Player Life. Today is what day is today? Is the 29th of January, coming to the end of January. Um, yeah, today, what episode? 54, episode 54 of Player Life. Uh, Today, I have a guest on the show. I don't usually have guests on the show, but something I definitely like to get into. His name is Matt Mitchell, and he's out in Serbia. We're going to talk about what life is like out in Serbia compared to America. So, yeah, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, so I've got a website, missionlifemotion.com, YouTube channel. You can find me there, as well as a Twitter and Instagram. And it's basically a men's self-improvement website and channel. I've got a bunch of articles and videos, and I help guys level up, essentially, and dominate in every aspect of their life, primarily with regard to building a business, pursuing your mission, excelling with dating, women and dating. I talk a lot about red pill, intergender dynamics type stuff, and then also health and I've got a few bodybuilding videos and articles and health and fitness, that kind of thing. So that's basically it.
Yeah. Good stuff. There's like a tracker on your face. I don't know if you saw that. If you can change that. But
I think I know what that is. One sec.
I mean, it's no worries if you can't change it.
There's a way to get rid of that. I don't know if I.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, it's not the end of. All right, cool. Yeah, so good stuff. I mean, so where are you originally from?
So I'm from Texas, Dallas. I went to high school in the Austin area, but I went to college and spent my 20s and early 30s near Dallas. And I just moved out here about 6 months ago. So now I'm in Belgrade, which is the capital of Serbia. But yeah, I'm from Texas, so that's my.
Right. And what were you doing while you were living in Texas? What was your profession?
I was actually an insurance agent. I helped people with that, life insurance, auto, home, and also mutual funds and 401ks, that type of thing. And I actually had my own business for about 4 years that I sold right before I moved out here. That's the main reason I was able to do this, to come out here. So I sold that first week of August and came out here August 10th, I believe.
All right. Cool. So you were in the financial world, involved in.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you make? Are you involved in crypto?
I'm starting to get into it. I'm not. I'm still kind of in the early stages of it, but by the end of this year, my goal is to be fluent in cryptocurrency. I'm just kind of still in the early stages. Thanks to watching John's channel. John's kind of the one that got me into that MLD.
Right, yeah, I'm obviously out here in Tokyo with John and Charlie from Cultivate Crypto Show.
Yeah.
So those guys got me into crypto, but according to them, this is the year to get into it. It's right now is there's no time like it. Since you're into the financials, what do you make of what's going on? Have you been following what's going on with Wall Street and all the the GameStop? I don't know if you're up to date on it.
Honestly, since I left the industry, I mean, I still follow it a little bit, but I'm not like I haven't been really keeping up with it too much since I got out of the industry. Kind of got burnt out on that side of it anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time right now with all that's going on, with the crazy year we just had, and it's kind of, volatile,
Yeah. So
unpredictable.
you say you moved out like 6 months ago. So that was obviously, what month did
Yeah,
you move out? What month was
August. I got here like August 11th or 10th,
that?
something like
Okay.
that.
So
Yeah.
that's mid beer bug kind of hysteria.
Yeah, actually, right in the middle of the pandemic, I moved out here, and I got lucky because I had already picked Serbia. I had decided on Belgrade. I decided that's the city I wanted to go to before Corona. I mean, before any of this COVID shit started. So I got lucky because about a month, obviously, once COVID hit, I was worried I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to leave. And Serbia was like the only country in the entire continent of Europe, basically, that was open, that was letting people in. Like I remember looking at a map and it showed like everything that was red was you couldn't get into that country, and it was like the whole continent of Europe. And then there was this one green country right in the middle that was Serbia. So it couldn't have worked out better. It was literally the only country that was open, and I had already decided I was going there anyway, so it kind of worked out perfect.
I guess is there any reason for that? Why are they more based? I guess is there any? Do you think is that what was the reason for them going against the whole hysteria, shutting everything down and?
I have my theory on it. I don't know if, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is just my theory, but I feel like Serbia has been through a lot of shit. They've been through a lot of wars and a lot of tension over the years. And from what I heard, like they went on like full, complete, total lockdown when COVID first hit in March, and then their leader, their president, took them off of lockdown pretty early, like in May or June, and opened everything. And then they tried to close it back down again because I guess they got more cases. And then everybody in Serbia like protested like crazy, like outside of the Capitol building over the summer, and like went crazy because they didn't want to get locked down again. My theory is that they've been through a lot of shit, and they're just not that. They don't seem to be like too concerned about it. When I got here in August, like everybody out here walks around without a mask on. I mean, people wear masks inside, but I mean, you walk around outside and no one's wearing a mask except if they're like old, elderly people you still see wearing masks, but they don't seem to be, it's nothing like the United States. It's nothing like what you see there where people are like scared shitless wearing masks in their car and shit. So it's a lot different, here.
I mean, like out here in Japan, it's like 99.9% of people wear masks, but other than that, they're pretty based. I mean, everything, it's business as usual here. Like apparently, a couple of weeks ago, they went back into a state of emergency. But I mean,
yeah,
it's everything. Every shop's open. Everyone's out in the streets. Everything's as normal. But apparently some businesses close a little earlier. That's the only difference. But
yeah.
nonsense, really. But I mean, how are things there now? I mean, are businesses open as usual? Are there bars and things?
Well, when I got here, it wasn't bad at all. It's almost like COVID didn't even exist, basically, when I got here. But they've since started closing bars and clubs at like 6 p.m., which is crazy. I don't even know of anywhere else that's doing that. But like New Year's Eve, I went out New Year's Eve and we had to leave the nightclub at like 6 o'clock New Year's Eve, and had to go to like a secret New Year's Eve party, like in this Chinese restaurant. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, as far as I know, that's what they're still doing. They're closing every bar. I think the restaurants are open till like 9, but the bars close at 6, which kind of sucks. but hopefully that, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, so you have to leave at like 6 p.m. in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, yeah, like Japan is probably the most based place to be. I think one of the most based places to be in the world right now because, like I said, bars, clubs, everything is open for business. John and myself, MLD, we've been partying like normal. Like we've been going to clubs and going to bars and doing our normal thing like all throughout this pandemic. And not only us, but we go to clubs and bars and it'd be packed, like
Yeah.
normal. So it's like we're sitting here in Tokyo and we're like, what the hell is going on? Like what is going on? Like Tokyo's right beside right beside China, and not only that, but obviously, in 2020, the Chinese New Year, there was like tens of thousands because a lot of Chinese people come to Tokyo for traveling.
Yeah.
And there was just at the beginning of this whole beer bug nonsense, there was I'm just putting out wild numbers, but there's probably like 100,000 tourists, like Chinese tourists in Japan. I don't know, like it was just every station you go, you see tourists, and so Tokyo should be one of the hardest hit places if this thing was as bad as they say it was. But they talk about social distancing, yet it's impossible to social distance in Tokyo. You can't do it. You're on the subways. We all know the reality of actually, if you've ever seen like the studies about masks, they don't actually stop the spread of anything because they're they're microbes. Like they're
I've heard about that.
Their masks are just originally they're supposed to be worn by doctors and surgeons to actually stop the the actual spit actually getting into open wounds. It's not to stop like the spread of viruses.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it kind of sounds like Japan is kind of similar to where I am in a way, where like they just I don't know, they don't seem to be too concerned about it. Like it's funny, they think it's bad here. They think their restrictions. Well, everything closing at 6 does suck, but it's way worse in America. Like as far as how people are reacting to it.
Yeah. MLD was telling me all about when he was back in America. The only people that would criticize him for not wearing the mask were fat, overweight, feminists and women. That just they were the only people that gave him stick about not wearing the mask. And
so he wasn't wearing it indoors or anything.
Apparently he didn't do it. He didn't wear it unless he had to. Unless like it was you were required to do it, but when he's out and about it, no.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I'm out here in Tokyo. Like I said, 99.9% of people actually wear the masks. Because they have that culture. They actually had. So I'd say before the beer bug, about I'd say about 15 to 20% of people would actually wear a mask anyway. That's hard to believe. It's true. Like it's kind of part of the culture. So once this thing came around, everyone started doing it. But I only do it when I'm required to do it. If it's like you need to wear one to come into this building, and that rarely happens. But that's the only case I do it. And sometimes I'm still teaching, so I do it. When I have to wear it while teaching, but as soon as I'm done, as soon as I leave the building, I take it off. I ride the subways. I go into I don't wear it, and no one gives me. It's coming up on a year since all this started, and it is a year. It's a year, so no one has ever given me stick. There was one incident, only one time I was on a subway, and some old man. No, he wasn't even an old man. He was like he was around in his 30s, I'd say. He just gave me a dirty look. One time, I swear, that's not an exaggeration.
Wow.
Never has ever even given me dirty. Only one guy has given me a dirty look, and I'm very observant. I'm when I'm out and about, I'm not one of these people that's like glued into their phones. I actually observe like my surroundings, so I notice that people don't actually. They don't,
So why do you think that is? Why do you think in Japan they're less concerned about it? Because that's what it sounds like from what you're describing. What would you say?
It's a mixture of them, it's a mixture, I'd say, of them not caring as much, and them and the culture of the kind of etiquette of minding their own business.
Yeah.
There's a very strong etiquette out here of people not interfering. And then
Yeah.
again, I'm a foreigner as well, so that increases the it's a mixture of things. I'd say maybe if it was a Japanese or another Asian person, they might get more dirty looks, but I don't know because I'm not a Japanese, or Asian, so I don't know what it's like. I just know I don't get any stick. No one gives me any beef. Just let me see the chat. We got Spark 55. What up, bro? And we got Patrick Meehan in the house. 35-year-old guys wearing masks in cars driving alone is beyond cuck. I agree. When you see like guys driving cars, like, or anyone driving a car,
Yeah.
in
You don't
their
see
own
that.
wearing a mask, it's like, what are you doing?
You only see cab drivers doing that here just because they have people in their car, but other than that, you'd never see somebody wearing a mask in their car here, like never. So it's interesting to see how it's different, from one country to the next.
Yeah. So anyway, what got you started with the Mission Life Motion?
Well, I decided back in 2015 that I wanted to work online and earn my living online. I was influenced by certain people, certain websites and content creators at that time to do that. And I was selling insurance at the time. I didn't even have my own agency yet. At that point, I was 29. So I made that decision in the summer that year, and I learned everything I could about internet marketing. I bought I can't remember what it was, some Eben Pagan course that was like $1,500 that taught you all this stuff about how to market over like email and, articles and SEO kind of things. So I learned about that. I started a blog that I ended up abandoning that because a lot of people that start websites and blogs, their first one or two, it doesn't end up working out. So I ended up not doing that, and I started the new website, the one I have now, and it just started as a me writing articles, and then I realized, if you want to have your own brand, you have to have like multiple platforms. You got to have a YouTube, especially. You got to have an Instagram. You got to have a Twitter. You got to have, email lists, all this shit. So I ended up at the time leaving who I was I was doing insurance, but I was working for somebody else at that point. When I was 30, I left that, started my own agency from scratch, and that was very time consuming. And so it was kind of slow getting my channel going, my website, my channel, and the social media.
How old are you now, by the way?
I'm 30. You know what? My birthday is tomorrow. Tomorrow I turn 35.
All right. Good stuff. Happy birthday, bro.
Thanks. So I was it was crazy because I was working like 12-hour days anyway with my own business. And then in the morning I would get up early and do stuff for Mission Life Motion. And I did that for about 4 years. And then finally I had built up that business enough to sell it. And I used that money to move over here. And now I'm going all in on Mission Life Motion. So, yeah, I mean, you probably know this, but I mean, it's very time consuming when you're trying to build up a channel and a brand, like what MLD has done. Like it takes all your effort, energy, and attention, So
yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. It takes. That's why I basically I got into live streaming basically because it's like, I don't have a lot of time, but so it's more time efficient to live stream.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to edit edit videos and whatnot. So it's more immediate. That's why I like
Editing
it.
videos can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
But it's also, I know it's probably also a good idea to also do like uploads, because I think that's how you can gain more traction. That's how
yeah,
you can get new viewers if you're uploading videos, because with live streams you don't get really new viewership. You kind of need to build it up.
really.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, I've been doing this a few months, like about 3 months. I mean, it does, like, it goes up and down, but I need to figure out a way to grow it more. But um, I
Yeah,
think,
uploads help. I think at least like if you try to do like one upload a week, that'll help out a lot. Um,
yeah,
that's what built my channel up, is just doing those uploads. But
because personally, I like seeing, myself. Sometimes when I see a long video on YouTube, I'm less likely to watch it. But if I see like a 6 to 15 minute video, I might, I'll be more likely to click on it. Because it's
yeah,
bite size. You can consume it. You don't have to commit for an hour. You know,
right, right. I watch all my videos on 1.25 speed because
right?
it's just
Consume more.
there's just too much stuff to watch. I
Yeah,
don't watch any stupid shit. I watch like Rule Zero and John's stuff and your stuff and um, Richard Cooper. I like all that. Everyone's Troy Francis has got good stuff. So that's stuff I watch. I like to learn things, not waste time.
good way to be for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm getting. What kind of content do you produce mainly?
So okay, well, lately I've been talking. Well, I very recently started doing live streams, and what I've done is gone back over my most popular videos and articles, and I'm doing like a live stream version of those. I've done about 7 or 8 now. I think I've done 8. And I mean, I talk about let's see. I kind of talk about several things. I talk about like dating, red pill ways of looking at the world, not just women, but also fitness and business. We talk about early entrepreneurship and how to what it takes to stay focused and not waste time and be productive. And then there's some videos I do where I'll review products. Those are actually pretty popular videos where I'll experiment with something like a supplement or whatever, and then I'll do a review video of it. So I've got some of those as well. So it's kind of similar. I guess I would compare it to trying to think of who. I mean, Richard Cooper talks about a lot of the stuff I do. I would say.
What gets you motivated to do it? Like, because it's like you said, it's hard work. It's even when you're working like 12 hours a day, and then you're doing your side business on top of that. What gets you motivated? What gets you up in the morning and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be consistent and I'm gonna continue to do it.
Yeah. I read a lot of books and articles, a lot of blogs, and those motivate me quite a bit. After you do that long enough, it starts to mold the way you think about things and your perception and the way you look at the world and yourself. And I've been doing that for years now. So I'll listen to Audible audiobooks like while I'm walking and while I'm at the gym. I used to drive. I don't drive anymore since I moved out here, but I used to listen to podcasts and audiobooks in my car constantly. And that has compounding effects over time. So I think that helped motivate me probably the most. And the other thing when I had my business back in Texas that motivated me was I wanted to be location independent. I didn't want to be handcuffed to one city or state the rest of my life. You know, I
Good way to
wanted
be.
I wanted the ability to come and go as I please
Yeah,
and travel.
right.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to narrow it down to one thing, it would be the ability to be location independent and not be handcuffed to one place.
Okay, so the content you consume kind of inspires you to, create your own content as well as trying to be, free to live wherever you want.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. That's sounds pretty. Yeah, it's like it's the dream to be free to live wherever you want and not be tied down to anyone. Be anti-fragile, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, because so
Yes.
many people are tied down to doing things that they don't want to do. Just like trying to pay bills and they're living these miserable lives. But
Right.
if you're if you're chasing something you actually want to do, it's much more rewarding, and you feel like truly free, right?
Yeah, and I didn't want to have to keep dealing with the business I had. It was a lot of like person to person, which was fine to an extent. I mean, I learned a lot about psychology and how to persuade people and that kind of thing, but people get annoying after a while. I mean, I'm more of a independent type of person. I like to just do my thing and not be bothered. And so I like the idea that I don't have to deal with people on a daily basis. When you work online, you just do your work and
Would you,
if
would you
yeah,
describe yourself as an introvert?
yes,
Yeah.
naturally. I can break out of that when I need to, obviously. I mean, I learned how to do that by having that business, and because that was a commission only business I had. I mean, if I didn't make sales, I didn't eat. So I learned how to adapt for a temporary period of time to be extroverted, and then when the meeting was over, I could go back to being me. So I think it's a valuable skill, especially if you're learning how to be good with women, to learn how to sell, to excel in sales.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, relating to women. So do you write also about you dating? I guess.
Yeah. Some of my more recent stuff has been about understanding female behavior and, you know, how to deal with women once you've been seeing her already for a little while, because that's a challenge unto itself. I mean, it's one thing to pick girls up, and then it's another to deal with them, after you've already known them for a little while. So some of my more recent stuff has talked about that, but I have done some day game here in Belgrade, and it's interesting. I mean, it's definitely an experience.
What are
I'm not.
uh,
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what are the main differences you see between life in Texas, between Texan women and Serbian women?
Well, for one thing, it's very rare to see an overweight girl in Serbia. I
I
mean,
thought you were gonna say that.
yeah, I'm sure it's like that in Japan too, I would guess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You never, I mean, you might see one overweight girl out of every 20, 25. Literally, I'm not joking. Like out of every 25 women, one of them will be fat. That's it. Probably maybe even less than that. So they take, and even men are thinner too. Like people just they don't eat crap out here. They don't have a lot of fast food out here. So that's one thing. The other thing, they're much more traditional here. They're more feminine. They wear heels. They wear perfume. They do their hair. They make themselves look nice before they leave the house. It's basically what it used to be in America back in like 50s, 60s, before
Yeah.
feminism.
All
Uh,
right. So it's kind of old school.
yeah, now it's not quite as extreme as places like Ukraine, from what I've heard. I think they're even more that way in Ukraine, but in Serbia they're a little more lax. They like to party a little bit more, but I mean, compared to America, it's like night and day difference.
And I presume it's like homogenous country. It's not very multicultural, is it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, I mean Serbia is in the Balkans, so it's like Southeast Europe, and you really don't. There's not a lot of multiculturalism. Honestly, it's like white people, and you see like a few Chinese people because we're not that far from China here.
Okay.
I don't really see. I never see any Latino or any. I mean, that's just not what I see here. So you're right. It's very it's not like America where it's not as diverse as America. In other words,
right? Yeah, definitely not as diverse as America. So how have you been meeting chicks? Have you you do it online? You do day game? Obviously, night game is not much of an option there right now.
Yeah, no. So day game, and I've met some online, and I actually still have met some because the whole 6 o'clock cutoff thing only happened at Christmas before the nightclubs were open. So I met some that way as well, but I would say it's a combination of those three. Online game or online dating is not as big of a thing here as it is in more first world countries, I guess you could say. It sounds like it's decent. It's decent in Japan, from what I've heard.
It can be decent, but it's it varies a lot. I mean. When I first got to Japan, Tinder and, pretty much only used Tinder. And I also used some language exchange apps. And they were actually, a certain language exchange app I used called Hello Talk was actually better than Tinder. Because it cut out all the competition. But they've since changed the way you can use. You used to be able to search by nearest. And they changed that, but so nearby or people in your area, so you could find it. Cut out all the competition because every girl was obviously using the app to learn English. So I could. It was amazing actually. When it worked, it was unbelievable. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was a language exchange app, but it was you could meet anytime my well dried up. I just went to this language exchange app, and I always, without doubt, always found a girl.
What was it called?
Hello Talk.
Hello Talk.
I think you need to purchase it or something. They changed the way it works, but I haven't been using it in a while. But like I said, when I came here originally, it was like Tinder and Hello Talk, and Tinder was all right. It was pretty good. Then it was kind of, when I first came, it was more like, girls would use it to try and meet foreign guys. But then Tinder did a lot of actually advertising in Japan. And it became an app that Japanese people will use too. So you kind of get drowned out. And there's a misconception that as a foreign guy, you're just gonna have women coming to you in Japan. It's a really big misconception. It's a myth really, because it's actually the opposite. Like if you talk to John, if you talk to anyone, really hot, good-looking Japanese girls will actually not usually. 99.9% of the time, they're not going to end up with a foreign guy, even a really good-looking foreign guy.
What do you mean they're not going to end up with one long term? Is that what you mean?
They're not even going to hook up with them. But see, they even have a word for it in Japan. They call girls that like foreign guys gaijin hunters. Gaijin mean foreigner, hunter.
Yeah.
It's actually a tiny percentage of girls in Japan, because Japan is the third largest economy in the world. It's not a poor country. It's a very rich kind of, a lot of wealthy people here. There's a misconception that, it's just not the truth, and, I know that because I go hard at game, and luckily I have game, so it's not an issue for me. But guys come over here thinking that they're going to just, clean up. It doesn't work out that way,
It's like that. It's like that here too.
Yeah.
There's some girls that just don't they just like Serbian guys and that's it. You know, like they're not gonna. It's basically exactly what you just described.
What is the level of English there?
Everybody under the age, I've noticed that everybody under the age of about 40 speaks English, and everybody over the age of 30 doesn't, or 40, excuse me. So that they started teaching it at around whatever year that was in schools, and like everybody under 40 can speak English, and nobody over 40 can. That's what my observation has been. So at some point around that time, they started changing that in the school system. But that's one of the reasons I came here. I wanted to go somewhere where people kind of spoke English a little bit, you know, at least because I don't plan on staying here forever. Like I want to go to other countries. I'm here till the end of the year. I'm here till December, but after that, I plan on going somewhere else.
Right.
But I wanted my first place to be somewhere where they at least kind of speak English. You know?
Yeah, that's obviously important. You're not gonna, learn the native tongue, that in that short space of time. But
Right.
so it's obviously it's not an issue then if under 40s, because you don't really want to be banging milf. I like the odd milf. I like the odd milf, but it's you don't get that same sense of satisfaction even if I hook up with a really hot milf. It's not the same as hooking up with a really hot 21-year-old. It's not. You don't get that sense of validation. It's like, okay, I'm done. You can leave now. It sounds harsh, but it's like it's just it's in male nature, kind of. They're just for sex, kind of thing.
Right.
It's like with a 21-year-old, your hindbrain, it's like this is like a fertile, like beautiful woman. Whenever I get a 21-year-old around, usually I let them. I'll let them stay, or I'll be happy for them to stay. But if it's a 40-year-old milf, it'd be like I'll generally make an excuse or something. Oh, I got to do this or I got to do that. I don't know. It's just the way it works out. But it's obviously good that the under 40s in Serbia can speak speak English. So it's not going to be. You don't have to be chasing these older chicks.
Yeah, I mean the girls here are phenomenal as far as like attractiveness. It's Serbia is regarded as like one of the top 3-4 places for like hottest women in the world.
Are they petite? Are they like they're really? I'd say they're like really snow. I'd say it's like is it snowy there now? Is it like?
It was snowing. Like it snowed for like 2 weeks, but it's all melted now. It's actually not even. I can go outside without my jacket right now, which is crazy because it's usually not like that here. But that's another reason I came here instead of Ukraine. I heard Ukraine because I plan on going there next, but I heard it's a lot colder there. So
right.
I'm from Texas. I'm not used to the cold, so I didn't really want to go from one extreme to the other like abruptly. It's not that bad. I mean, it's like I said, you don't even need a jacket right now, but it can get cold. It snowed for about 2 weeks right after New Year's here.
So what does a typical Serbian chick look like? Like in features? Are they tall, short, really white skin, or like blonde hair? What's a typical Serbian? I don't even know.
All right. Well, Serbian people are usually taller, especially the men, but even the women are kind of tall. So they seem to have good genes. Like they're tall. As far as the women, they tend to have. There's not too many blondes in Serbia. It's more dark hair, olive skin, darker skin. Long hair. They wear heels and they look feminine. They don't wear dresses, but they're pretty feminine. And a lot of the girls here look good without makeup, believe it or not. I mean, they just have like real natural beauty. Like they don't have to, unlike America where they have to put makeup on to look decent. the girls here just have really good genes,
Right.
and they're just they just look they have more of a natural beauty. But yeah, definitely darker hair, kind of tannish skin. I mean, they're hot. There's no way around it. They're hot. The guys, it's kind of an interesting place because the guys here are really masculine, like super masculine. There's a lot of competition.
I'd say so.
Yeah, and the average guy here is like 6'2", and
Average,
the
average 6'2".
I think so, like 6 or 6'2".
That's
Yeah,
tall.
I have to put insoles in my shoes just to not look short here. I'm 5'10".
So. The average, that's crazy. But yeah, that's like 190 centimeters or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they all have like deep voices and like, so it's definitely not the easiest place to game.
Chad country, Chad Central.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Winston Wolf says, I'd like to know what difference he found in East v West Europe, since my journey in life might take me from East to West Europe before other continents. So have you any experience with, Western Europe?
I have not been to Western Europe. I only can tell you what I've read about it. And from what I've read about it, it's more similar to, it's westernized. It's more similar to the United States. More liberal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm from Ireland, and that's Western Europe. That's the most Western Europe you can get.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think there's a pretty stark difference from East Europe to West Europe as far as like the culture.
Yeah. I can confirm that. I probably know more about that than you, since I'm actually from Europe. So, yeah, I'm from Ireland. So Ireland is, unfortunately, it's like gone down the shithole in recent years. It's more like a democratic state in America. It's pretty much what Ireland is like. It's like a democratic run state. It's horrible. It's gone so progressive. It's gotten into this, like, and
I've heard you talk about that in some of your videos.
Oh yeah, it's gotten really bad. I can even see it. I can see it from I'm out here living in Japan, and every year it gets worse and worse. And even when I went back in 2018, Christmas 2018, it was it's like, God, I just wanted to, it was good to get back some aspects, but then, I was like, I was happy to come back to Japan in a way, because, I couldn't really, I didn't have the patience for it. The women just, I don't know. There's such a feminism, all the progressive things have just skyrocketed, gone to the moon in Ireland.
That's unfortunate. I mean, you really want the Europe experience.
Winston says, great website on Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. The only place I'm going to go to like London and all those places just to see them. Spain. Other than Spain, the only place in Western Europe I'm really super interested in going to is Amsterdam. Other than that, in Spain, I'm not too crazy about the idea of going there. I mean, there's too many places in the eastern part of the continent that I'm interested in.
Since all this beer bug started, have you had the chance to travel outside Serbia?
Well, I did go back to Texas for Christmas.
All right.
But other than that, no. Although I'm planning on going to, let's see, where am I planning on going? I'm planning on, there's Bulgaria. Sofia, Bulgaria is not far from here, so I want to go there. That's the capital of Bulgaria.
So you haven't been, you've only been to Texas, you've only went, all right.
Yeah.
Is that because of the current situation?
Yes, that, and plus I've been really focused on work since I got here. I mean, that's the main reason I moved over here, was to get away from all the distractions. So I want to get the brand going, kind of move by itself a little bit. Then I'm going to start doing more traveling. But right now I'm like super focused on work. So, but later in the year, hopefully the COVID restrictions ease up a little bit. Hopefully to get the business a little more automated. Then I'll start going to like Poland and Ukraine and starting to see other places. Slovenia.
Yeah. Good stuff. So yeah, like back to the Serbian chicks. I'm just, so how do you actually, what's your best way? what has been your most successful way to pick up Serbian
Okay,
chicks?
so day game is king in Belgrade. Day game. That's one of the reasons I got interested in your channel was because I knew that before I moved out here. So I knew I needed to get more. You know, I needed to learn as much as I could about it. And I mean, if you do your research on like best cities in the world to do day game, I would say Belgrade's like 5 or 6, if not higher, like in the whole world. Um, so they've got this street called Nez Milova that runs. It's this famous giant outdoor shopping mall, basically, that stretches like 2 miles right down the center of the city. And there's not much else in Belgrade, honestly, besides that. I mean, there's like some old churches, whatever. But there are tons of girls, all hours of every day of the week, walking up and down that street. Like, it's like day game heaven here, basically.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
So what's your method? I mean, how do you approach it?
Yeah, so I've got like the places I kind of post up. I try to work it into my day. There's tons of cafes and coffee shops here, so I'll usually work half the day out of a coffee shop cafe, and in between I'll usually go to 2 of them. In between them, there's the like spots where there's like high traffic areas, and I'll kind of wait there for a few minutes, and then there's always an opportunity. Like you never have to wait more than like 5-6 minutes. Might have to close that window. And yeah, I'll usually have like, my headphones and I'll pull them out. I typically like walk up beside her and open her like from the side while we're walking. I don't usually get in front of her and stop her, but that's kind of what I do. I'm like, I used to ask them if they spoke English, but I changed it to the first thing I say now is I hope you speak English, like as a statement instead of a question. That seems to work better because I kind of know they speak English. I don't really need to ask it as much. Now, there's still some that don't, but I mean, so what,
Have you noticed yourself improving at it?
Yes. Yeah. No, it takes practice for sure. Like, it's once you get past like the initial part.
It's more. I've noticed since I've been doing it that it's not about really what you say. It's more about how you do it, how you approach your confidence levels. Over time you'll start to develop that natural confidence. So it's kind of that's why some people, if you stop doing it, some people will get rusty because they'll lose the confidence of doing it. It's more like just getting out there and doing it. It's like it's just a lot of people overthink it. I just think it's a bigger deal than it actually is. They're like thinking about it too much.
Well, yeah, and I think just not giving a shit what anyone else around you is going to be thinking.
Yeah.
Like, no one cares.
So take me through like one of your successful pickups.
Okay, well, there's been a couple. One of them. So I still have 2 cell phones. Okay, because one of them, the one I use now, was my old work phone, and my personal phone, iPhone, I broke the screen on it. I only use it for the internet now, so I still have it. So one thing I would do is I would use that. I don't do this anymore, but I would use that as a way to open a girl. I'd ask her, hey, where can I go to get my phone fixed? That was like the first thing I would ask her. And then they would want to help you. They naturally want to help somebody, and then they'll sit there and like think about where to tell you to go. So I did that with this young 22-year-old girl, and I could tell she was like, friendly. She wasn't like distracted or anything, wanted to help me, easy to talk to. And so I just started talking to her and asked her what she did. She was a student. There's a lot of college girls here because there's a University of Belgrade. And I got her Instagram, and I was like, well, let's have a coffee sometime, and I could tell she was receptive because she wasn't walking away or being rude or anything. So went on a couple of dates with her, and got her back to my place the second night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm in a good area of town too. I think it's important to be like located as far as where you are staying or where you live in a central location. And my apartment's like right in the middle of the city. So there's bars and coffee shops like walking distance from where I am, which is perfect.
Yeah. I'm usually at the point now where if I don't seal the deal on the first date, I'm not as interested.
Yeah.
Because I always shoot my shot, after on the first date. I don't, because I know the game. I know what's up. It's like I just shoot my shot. There's because a lot of guys don't understand that it doesn't really matter like how long you spend or how many dates you go on. The girl knows, like, if the girl's gonna smash, she's gonna smash. Like,
Yeah.
I spend like, and even when I'm on the date, I'll spend like an hour. I'll shoot my shot after an hour. Basically, I won't, because things can drag on. It's like there's no need for it to drag on. You can spend an hour, like, or 5 hours. It's not going to change the result.
I'm okay with seeing her a second time if I feel like she's vibing me. I mean, I felt like I could tell the girl liked me, but it's not too common. It hasn't been my experience that girls here are not. They don't usually bang guys on the first date. To be honest, in Serbia, but I mean, there's some girls that do for sure, but more so girls that you meet online will do that than girls that you meet through day game. But
it's a 3-date rule. It's like I'll always go for it. It also depends on the quality of the girl, but it's like the first date you always try and shoot your shot. You're always trying to seal the deal, but you take them on the first date, you don't smash, that's strike one. Take them on the second date, she doesn't smash, strike two. Take her on the third date, she doesn't smash, strike three, she's out. She's relegated to only house dates. That's my.
Yeah, I never go see a girl more if I don't have sex with her on the third date. That's it. Like, no.
Well, you can just relegate her to like house date only, like only coming to my house directly after the third date. And to be honest, I'll only meet a girl like on a third date if she's really, really hot, and I haven't done that in a long time, because it's usually, like I said, she needs to have a valid excuse. There needs to be some reason that she's not smashing. There needs to be a reason, but like I said, it's like if they don't smash by the third time, it's like complete relegation to house date. That there's no way about it. No other way.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of guys that are trying to learn this stuff, they think it's okay to like give free attention to women and get dragged around for 5-6 times hanging out with her. I mean, it's not like once you become a high value man, you realize your time is worth too much for that.
And girls will lose respect for guys if you're putting up with going on 5 or 6 dates. That's like, I've made that mistake in the past. That's how I know, and it's like that's how I learned. That's how I learned the fact that personally, it's my opinion that from trial and error in Japan anyway, especially in Japan, like it doesn't matter if you spend if you go on 1 date or 5 dates. She's either going to smash or not. So just shoot your shot. Like, that's always shoot your shot. Always try and close. Let me just check. Park 55 says, well, I'm half Swiss, and I can tell you that from what I'm hearing, what American girls are like, Swiss girls are better, but it's getting worse and heading the same direction as the U.S.
Yeah,
the U.S. is like,
poison.
It's poison. Let's be honest. It is like it's like just
like if I meet a girl I like over here that I want to see for longer than a couple times, But I will. I will not bring. I will not stay for an extended period of time if they're in the United States. I mean, they'll be ruined within 6 months.
Yeah.
You don't want to bring her back there.
Winston
No,
was
I want to go. I want to go to Romania. That's one of the places I want to go
Romania.
to. That's right next to Serbia, right next door.
Yeah, I think Winston is in Romania. So he says, yeah, the mobster girlfriend types might not speak English, but you kind of notice them from afar. Is there many tough types in Serbia? Well, you're saying it's like there's a lot of macho dudes, but are there like sketchy guys?
Like gangsters.
Yeah,
I haven't noticed any. No, I don't think there's any like. I don't think there's any like organized crime or anything like that here. But people here are really nice. Like
there's
the
no
guys.
like no go zones where you're like you feel sketchy or like it's pretty safe. And is it safe? It's like a
Belgrade
safe.
is one of the safest cities in the world, like in the whole
Yeah,
world. Yeah,
cool.
like girls can walk around here at 3 a.m. and not worry about a thing. So yeah, it's. I can't think of like I don't even think I can think of one or two places that are safer than here. Honestly, as far as a
Yeah.
city.
Sounds like Tokyo. If you've ever come to Tokyo, Tokyo is also extremely safe.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tokyo's another very, very, very good spot for day game and just because
yeah,
of such a population. And but at the same time, it's not a walk in the park. It's not like oh, you're going to be a foreign guy and you're going to clean up. It's
yeah.
actually you actually need game here. Like, you need game.
Here too. Like this is a good place to day game. It's one of the best places to day game, but it is not easy here. Like there's a lot of male competition, but it's easy to be motivated because the women are so hot, you know.
It's the
So
motivating factor, isn't it? Like you need like if you're not guys that struggle with motivation is like you kind of they need to question themselves. They need to ask themselves, are they jerking off too much? Are they what's going on? Like how can you not be
yeah,
motivated to do day game? Personally, I'm motivated because I keep my libido high and I don't be jerking off to like OnlyFans and stuff.
I don't watch any of that stuff. I monitor my test levels, and I don't watch porn. I don't do any of that shit because I know that that's just gonna demotivate me. So
Drains your that's your fuel, right? You know, you need a full tank. You can't be. You're just gonna be. You kind of get sloppy and lazy and lethargic, and it's not good.
yeah, yeah, and I try to watch. I don't like to. I try not to drink as much too. Like I drank a lot more in my 20s, and I
Yeah,
feel like that, especially as you get older, that
not worth it, is it?
no,
I'm back on the wagon now. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I quit drinking for years, and then in 2020 I kind of fell back onto it. But MLD, myself and MLD were partying a lot, and MLD kind of likes to pop bottles. It's kind of tempting when there's like a $1,500 bottle of champagne. I kind of did. I had a few wild nights, and I fell into the habit of drinking while going out again.
yeah,
But
yeah,
just not like every weekend, but occasionally whenever we'd have a night out. But I'm back on the wagon now, and I'm off to booze again because I just prefer myself sober. I just like even when I'm doing game, when I'm on nightlife, I just like to have my wits about me.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I
It's
just
much easier
genuine,
to.
I so that's why I'm actually lucky in that sense that I actually don't. It's not that much of a struggle. I don't have that much temptation because actually it's like I prefer it. I prefer the soberness. How about you?
Yeah, alcohol ruined more opportunities for me in my 20s with girls than I can even count. Like, I mean, I used to live in Dallas. Dallas is it's kind of a party city for people in their 20s, and I had friends that like to drink, and sometimes it helped me. I'm not going to say it didn't, but most of the time it hurt me. So I don't think it's, especially once you get to be like 30 and over the age of 30, you definitely want to start. You want to learn how to interact with women, even at night without alcohol. It's much better. It will hurt you more than it will help you.
Yeah. The price you pay for it. I mean, like, I'm not denying that it can be fun, to get wild and have a crazy night, but the price you pay is always worse. Especially like you said, as you get older and you're like the hangovers, and then what the thing I hate even more than the hangovers, kind of remembering what I said and did, because you kind of behave, and I behave because when I drink I go hard. I actually don't like my personality.
Yeah.
So it's actually a thing of, like, I become someone who I don't actually want to be. They say, like, the truth comes out, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I just kind of behave in a way I don't really want to behave. Like,
I feel like alcohol makes me like a different person. I don't.
Yeah.
Like almost like a completely different person. It's really weird.
I've seen it happen to so many people. Yeah, and I've seen people ruin their lives from alcohol, like genuinely, like really, like do terrible things, get seriously injured, get in trouble with the law, even. But yeah, I'm all about trying to, I'm kind of back on the wagon this year, not gonna work on my fitness and finances and kind of take things more seriously.
Yeah, I've been really good on going to the gym since New Year's, and I'm starting to see some results too. I'm trying to. I'm taking. Have you ever heard of SARMs before? SAR. SARMs.
No, I've not heard.
So I've never taken them, but I'm taking SARMs right now for the first time, and it basically like gives you the same effect as steroids, but they're not steroids. They're legal to buy for research purposes. You're not supposed to consume them, but I mean, come on. So I'm taking those right now, and the results are insane.
Yeah.
It's basically like I'm on a cycle, but I'm only a month into it. I got another month, so I'm trying to do like a before and after type thing. So I'll have the article going up next month if you guys.
Cool. Do you ever try and pick up chicks at the gym? Personally, I'm a a type of person that doesn't like to shit where they eat. I kind of especially in spaces where I go regularly. Maybe I don't want to create. That's just my approach. But what's your approach?
So I will, but I won't do it right away. So I'll wait, and I'll make sure that like not one of the other guys lifting there is her boyfriend or whatever. But like if I'm working out somewhere for a month, 5 weeks, whatever, and I notice the same girl there every day, then yeah, I'll talk to her. But I usually don't do it with girls that work there for the same reason. I don't want to have to leave that gym, for whatever reason and find a new one. If things don't work out or she gets pissed at me or whatever. So, but I take a slower approach to it. In other words, I'm a little more reserved as far as that goes.
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. Like if some girl was giving me serious, like, indicators of interest, I'm not gonna turn it down, but I'm not gonna like put myself out there and make the first move when, I'm not gonna, complete cold approach in a space where I'm, where I go regularly or, I have to deal with those people. It's just, I think it's good advice. I don't know. If a girl is giving me like some serious looks and, she's in my gym, sure, I'm gonna hit on her, but I'm not gonna like, complete cold approach,
Yeah, there's other places to do that.
You don't. Sometimes you just don't need to do it. I mean, in my local combini, just outside my house, there's like the girl that works there is like unbelievably hot. And I could hit on her, but she hasn't given me any indicators. And if it was somewhere else, I might try and get her number, but I don't need to. That's where I go every day. I don't. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't interfere in my my space. There's just so many places in Tokyo. It's pointless to create awkwardness in your home space.
Yeah. I mean, there's not too many. Surprisingly, there's not too many like hot girls that I see at the gym here. I saw that more in America than I do here, surprisingly. But
it's the amazing thing about Tokyo is you can't go anywhere without seeing hot girls. Like it's incredible. If you ever get the chance to come over, you should take it.
My uncle lived in Tokyo for 7 years, doing what you're doing, like teaching English.
Yeah. People get stuck here because it's so good. Basically, it's like it's just and it's not a bad thing. I'm not. I see myself being here for the foreseeable future, just because it's so good. It's a good setup.
Yeah,
good group of guys here too. MLD and Cultivate Crypto, Charlie from Cultivate Crypto, and a bunch of other guys. So it's a good time.
At least I've got people that I know that live there, so that's cool. I know over online at least. So I do plan on going there at some point. I think I want to make my way over to Southeast Asia in 2022, sometime like mid-year.
Yeah, man. I mean, hopefully things open up so we can travel again and without all this red tape. So I guess we've been going for like an hour. I mean, is there anything you want to say?
Follow me on YouTube. That would help me out. I've got a channel. I'm doing live streams now twice a week. I'm doing one tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, U.S. Central Time. So an hour before Rule 0, I'm doing a live stream, and then I was doing them on Tuesdays. Now I'm doing them. Now it's going to be Wednesday, same time, 9:30 Central Time, 10:30 Eastern. So you can follow me there. You can find me on get my website, missionlifemotion.com, and then I'm on Twitter as well. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can get on my email list. And so I'm around.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We'll have to do it again sometime. I just checked some of the comments. Know Your Word says, I've seen a friend of mine take his car down a ravine onto train tracks, walk home, go to sleep, train stops mid-track, cops are up at his door. God damn, that's insane. That's a wild time. But alcohol leads to all sorts of problems.
Okay.
Winston says they say they just target the muscle growth, not the other organs.
Talking about the
Rad 140 is strong as fuck.
Yeah, I'm not taking that one. I'm taking Andrine, Osterine, and Carterine.
Yeah. What's your body type? Naturally.
It's not hard for me to. I don't have those memorized. It's not hard for me to gain weight. So I gain weight easily.
Oh, okay. So you're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so I have to watch what I eat. I have to watch my calories. It's very easy for me to put on muscle. I got good genes from my dad, but and I'm only 5'10", so that kind of helps. If you're a little bit shorter, it's easier to put on muscle too.
It's all about staying on top of your fitness and putting in the work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important. So, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Cool. We'll end it there. So as usual, guys, thanks for joining. I will be back on Monday. So wherever you're at, have a good weekend. As usual, like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.
All right. Later.